Great. So can everybody see my screen?
You're good now.
Nope. Okay, great. So thanks, Chris, and welcome CFOA to the first of many virtual trainings. I'm grateful for Chris and the CFOA for allowing me to talk to you guys tonight. Over my 30 plus years of officiating, I've learned a lot, and I like to share. The one thing about me is I am passionate about football officiating, always trying to improve, and always willing to help other officials improve. So we got a lot to cover tonight. So feel free to ask questions in the chat, and then we'll address them either throughout or at the end of the presentation. Why didn't it move? There we go. All right, so the agenda tonight, we're going to cover some important lines. As we discuss these lines, what they mean, the mechanics to officiate these lines, and the mechanics we discuss are 5-man mechanics. Some of us work other associations, 7 or whatever, but tonight we're going to go over 5-man mechanics because that's what we do primarily. So there are many lines on the football field, but not all lines are created equal, so to speak. The most important line on the field is the goal line. It's worth 6 points or 2 points, and rulings on these plays associated with the goal line can have huge impact on the game. So we're going to talk a little bit about mechanics going in towards the goal line. So when we're officiating plays in the middle of the field, mechanics are different when we're closer to the goal line, either between the 10 and the 5 and the 5 and the goal line. So we're going to go over some of those, right? So in the middle of the field, obviously the back judge has the goal line. He's got a 22 to 25 yard head start. He should never, ever, ever get beat to the goal line. And back judges should really strive to do that. He needs to be on the goal line before the ball arrives. When we talk about officiating plays closer to the goal line, that changes, right? So when the ball is snapped, let's say between the 10 and the 5, and the 5 and the goal line, back judge is now on the end line. So it's up to the wing officials to cover that goal line, and the way we cover that goal line is different. And then we're going to go over mechanics the other way, where the ball is coming out from the goal line and the ball is snapped between the goal line and the 5. So unlike wing officials, when you officiate plays in the middle of the field, mechanics call for you to stay on the line of scrimmage, let the ball pass you, and then trail the play, right? Trail the play, runner gets tackled, get the spot, square in your spot, and away we go, right? Well, when we get close to the goal line, that changes, right? So back judge is on the end line, the goal line is exposed at this point. So when the ball is snapped between the 10 and the 5, you no longer can trail the play. You have to get ahead of the play because the wings must get to the goal line before the ball arrives. So here in this illustration, ball snapped inside the 10. Immediately the wing officials should start to head downfield to get ahead of the ball, get to the pylon, and then as that ball crosses the goal line, be there to rule whether it's a touchdown or whether he's short. The other thing wing officials should do is come off the pylon. Don't signal touchdown from the sideline and goal line. Come in a little bit or a lot of it, depending on the play, right? An uncontested play where the guy just runs across the goal line, there's no need to run into the middle of the field to signal touchdown where it's uncontested. But when it's a contested tackle right near the goal line, you need to come down the goal line and rule whether he's short or whether it's a touchdown, and be emphatic with your signal. So just bear in mind on those two type of plays that come near the goal line, whether it's contested or uncontested. Okay. Now, as the ball gets closer to the goal line, right? So now the ball snapped between the 5 and the goal line, right? Mechanics change a little bit again. Again, back judges on the end line, right? So again, we have to get in front of the ball. So at the snap, the wing official should go immediately to the goal line, immediately to the pylon, right? To be ahead of the play. And be there when the ball crosses the goal line. Again, depending on whether it's contested or uncontested, it all depends on the urgency to crash down the goal line to make that ruling. The other point I want to make when ruling on the goal line is plays that head towards the pylon. So great, you're in position, you're at the goal line, you're right behind the pylon, and here comes that runner, and he's headed for that pylon. What do you do? The correct mechanic and what you should be doing is actually backing up on a 90-degree angle from the sideline. So keeping the goal line in your direct vision straight ahead. If you go upfield, go back into the field of play, and then let the runner pass you, you've then lost all perspective of that goal line. So you need to stay on that goal line. And same versa, don't go in the end zone, right? Because again, you lose that perspective of the goal line. Now, again, your safety is paramount, right? So you don't want to be standing there, say, oh, no, I got to stay on the goal line no matter what, right? You're going to get run over, right? So back up 90 degrees off that pylon. It's another reason why you should try, keep your sideline clean. And we're going to talk about sidelines later in the presentation. But keep that area clear of everybody, because the last thing you want to do is back up. Now, all of a sudden you bump into somebody, you're down, and now we have nobody at that goal, right? So be very cognizant of that, of your surroundings and your area. Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the goal line mechanics coming out. So reverse goal line mechanics. So remember, the goal line plane is that front edge of the goal line, that white stripe. So 99.9% of that white stripe is in the end zone. So when the ball is coming out of the end zone, the whole ball has to get out of the end zone. So just like when the ball goes in, just the tip of the ball has to cross that plane. Same way going out, that whole ball has to be over that plane in order to not be a safety, right? So at the snap, both wing officials should retreat, go to the pylon, and then officiate out. Remember, again, the whole ball has to be out of the end zone, okay? So here's a play from, I think, a BCS championship game from many years ago. You see the Oregon runner reaches to get that ball out of the end zone, and it's not out. So in this case, it's a safety, and I believe it was ruled correctly in that game. So again, when the ball's coming out, that whole ball has to be out of the end zone. Okay. Another concept when we're talking about the goal line is the concept of goal line extended. So rule 2.26.1, I'm not going to read the whole rule, but basically the goal line is the vertical plane separate the field of play and the end zone. Okay, that's pretty common sense. When related to a live ball and runner's possession, touching inbounds while the ball is over the out of bounds area, the goal line includes the extension beyond the sideline. So in English, right? So in this first play here, or this first picture here, you have the runner, his feet clearly in bounds. Let's assume for our discussion that ball is on the outside of the pylon. Okay. In this case, that is a touchdown. All right, because the ball crossed the goal line extended, player was in bounds. Okay. In the second play, where the player leaps for the end zone, unless again it's assumed he leaped with both feet in bounds when he left the ground, and now he's reaching for that pylon. And again, for our discussion, this ball hits the pylon in player possession. Okay, again, that is a touchdown. And if we move to the third clip, again, let's assume the runner left the field of play when he leaped, he was in bounds. But now that ball crosses the sideline, let's say at the half-yard line in player possession, and then landed out of bounds in player possession beyond the pylon. In this case, that would not be a touchdown. Okay, you would put that ball, the yard line, half-yard line, wherever you rule that ball crossed the sideline. So if you notice in all three clips, you don't see an official at all in these three clips. And we're going to assume that they were using correct mechanics and they were way back off that goal line, but still keeping that goal line in straight in their view. Okay. So let's talk about mechanics a little bit on close plays, whether by the goal line or whatever. In general, wings should, square in your spots and always come off the sidelines to get a spot on most plays. But especially on those, what I call money plays, right? We need to sell spots and bust in and get the spot right. On those plays near the goal line, it's even more important that we do that, okay? Wing officials, you can use your umpire for help. And what I mean by that, umpire should never, ever, ever, ever go up with a touchdown signal in that case. But you can certainly help your wing officials by making eye contact, a gentle nod, maybe a little thumbs up, but give them some kind of indication that, hey, you think, right? Because you don't have a great perspective on knee down and things like that, but you can give them a little help and say, hey, that ball's in the end zone. Now it's their job to, again, rule whether the ball crossed the plane before the knee down or not. But umpires can give wing officials help in this case. And you can see in this little clip below, that wing official is coming off the sideline to signal touchdown. And you can see the runner walked in the end zone. So it wasn't even a close contested play, but he still came off the sideline to give that touchdown signal. It just looks a lot better. Okay. So the last thing I want to touch on the goal line is the momentum rule. So when we're talking about the goal line is that we have a rule. It's called the momentum rule. And I'm going to paraphrase. It's rule 85.1. Defensive player intercepts a forward pass, recovers a fumble or a backwards pass, catches a scrimmage kick or a free kick where he catches the ball inside the 5-yard line and his initial momentum, and I'll repeat, initial momentum carries him into the end zone. And the ball becomes dead in that team's possession in that end zone. We're going to come out to where the possession was made, whether that's the 4, the 3, the 2, wherever. On punts, interceptions, things like that, back judges, you should be beanbagging that spot where he gained possession, because that's the spot we're going to come back to. On free kicks, referee, same deal. Although, normally when the receiver catches the ball inside the 5, he's already facing upfield. His momentum is very, very rarely taking him into the end zone. But again, same concept, beanbag the spot just in case we need to come back to that spot. And again, I just want to reiterate, it's initial momentum. But if the player voluntarily runs back into his end zone, let's say to avoid a tackle, or the case might be, and it wasn't his initial momentum, the momentum rule does not apply. If he gets caught back there, gets tackled in there, we have a safety. Okay. So we're going to shift gears now, come off the goal line, and now kind of talk about the end line. Back judge is primarily responsible for the end line with balls going out.
You don't want to.
And then, sorry, somebody had something? Okay. So back judge primarily has responsibility for the end line with balls coming into the end zone, so to speak. With balls leaving the end zone, it would be the referee that has primary responsibility for the end line. Plays in the corner. Wing officials and back judges should communicate whether it's a touchdown, whether he's out of bounds, or whatever the case might be.
Take it out of your ears.
I'm hearing some feedback. If you could just go on mute, if whoever's not on mute. So
Something's wrong with the.
again, guys,
Something's wrong with the.
if you're not on mute, can you go on mute?
John, can you try and make me the co-host again? See if that works.
See it moving now. I
Yeah,
gotta
hold
hold
on.
this down.
Let me hold
I'm
on.
good.
Let me
Got it?
stop. I'm gonna have to stop sharing a second, guys. Hold on.
Gotta wash these towels. God.
Whoever the 417 is, could you please mute your device?
Trying to see who's not muted.
The 417, whoever that is.
Oh, I see. Okay, I think everybody's muted at this point.
Yes.
Okay, let me go back. Share again. Okay. So everybody can see the presentation again?
Yep.
Good. Yep. Okay. So again, back judge is primarily responsible for the end line, balls coming in, referee out. Wing officials, back judge, plays, going into the corner of the end zone. Make sure there's communication, site communication, that you ruling one way or another. The last thing we want is, one of the officials going up with a touchdown and the other official coming in strong with, let's say, an incomplete pass. Same thing goes for wing officials and back judge communications on long plays down the sideline, right? You got a runner running down the sideline, wing officials trailing, whether he's trailing by 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, whatever it is. As that runner crosses, as he's nearing the goal line, just make eye contact with that back judge, even if you're not, nowhere near the goal line, and, give him some indication that he's good. Back judge can go up for the touchdown. If the wing official has him stepping out, let's say he has him stepping out at the 5 and you're at the 20, right? Trailing, and you're doing the best you can, you're running. Kill with the whistle. Just blow your whistle right away. Continue running down that sideline, and when you get to the 5, that's when you can stop and kill the clock. Okay. Don't try to, don't signal as you're trying to run. Just keep hitting that whistle, and then when you get to that 5, just stop and kill the clock. Right. That whistle should alert that back judge that, the play was over before he even reached the goal line. All right. Let's do this. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about players going out of bounds, coming back in. When can they do that? When they can't do that? When is it legal? When is it not? Right. So if receiver runs out of bounds, he comes back in bounds to catch a pass, block, participate in any way. There's different ways that happens, whether he's legal or not, right? So if a receiver runs out of bounds voluntarily and then re-enters and does one of those things on top, right? Pass, block, participate. We have illegal participation, right? He ran out of his zone, he's done. If the receiver gets pushed out of bounds by a defender, blocked, whatever way, and he immediately returns back into the field of play, he's good. He can do whatever he wants, block, catch the pass, or whatever, right? The other scenario could be where receiver is blocked, pushed out of bounds, and he continues to run out of bounds for several yards and then returns in bounds, right? That is illegal participation. You might see that a lot with gunners on punts, right? Where they try to avoid the block or they get pushed out of bounds and then they run along the white several yards and then come back in. That is illegal participation. And the last fourth scenario, let's say a receiver gets pushed out of bounds, blocked out of bounds, pass gets thrown his way, and he leaps from out of bounds and catches the pass in the air and then lands inbounds. Do we have a legal catch? And yes, we do. Nowhere in the book does it say he has to reestablish in the field of play, or, I think that's a basketball thing, but yeah, so he can leap from out of bounds, catch the pass, land inbounds, you got a good catch. Okay, now let's focus on the line of scrimmage and the line to gain. And I'm, trying to get done by 7:30, but anyway. All right, so line of scrimmage, head linesman is responsible for the line of scrimmage. It's to know the previous spot, know the down, although the whole crew is responsible for the down as well. It's responsible for his chain crew, make sure they're doing their job the way you want them to do. And I'm not going to get into chain crew mechanics right now because we could spend another whole half hour on chain crew mechanics. Line judge, you are basically the judge of the line to gain. I tell my line judge all the time, you are my eyes, right? For whether that ball is a first down or not, right? So if it's a first down, just communicate with me somehow. I like to use walkies to just get on the walkie and just say, hey, John, I got a first down, or just yell, whatever. This way I can just kill the clock, first down, get that clock running again, and off we go. Nonverbal signals also works, like for double stakes, right? So if we're at double stakes, you're looking right at them, it. So just signal across the field to your wing official, umpire, everybody can see it, so we know, and it can, can maybe stop us from making a mistake, right? By signaling a first down or stopping the clock, thinking we have a first down when they didn't reach the line to gain. Okay. So a couple things on close spots, right? Communication is key. Now, again, like I said, I use walkies, but they should not be used as a crutch because you never know, they may not be working. So if we have a close spot, especially on third down, fourth down, near the goal line, right? Or near that line to gain, right? The line judge has that stick right in front of them. Bust in. If you keep busting in, your other linesman should never turn around. He sees you busting in, he should bust in, right? Whoever has the spot on a close play, call for the ball. Don't let the umpire pull it down. Just, yell to the umpire, it's my spot, give me the ball, and let the umpire toss you the ball, you put it down, and then we see what we have, right? And then we can make a ruling one way or another with first down measurement, third, or didn't make it, right? There's also some supplemental signals that we can use that can help us manage the line of scrimmage, line to gain, right? So if we're short yardage, right, line judge sees that, just give that signal. Let the linesman know, let everybody know, hey, we might have a crucial spot here. Let's make sure we get that right. Okay. Linesman, helping out when we have a long 5 or a short 5. You're supposed to have that, white tape right at the 5-yard mark on the chain. If we're a long 5, just signal that, lets the umpire and referee know, hey, so if we have a dead ball encroachment foul, let's say on the defense, and we're a long 5, umpire knows when he walks off that 5, he better put that ball down short of the stick, right? And then I, as a referee, I know, so I'm going to give, start my monkey signals, and I'll be like, still 3rd down, still 2nd down. Keeps the game moving, right? The other flip of that, short 5, right? So if we know it's a short 5, now we have that 5-yard encroachment penalty. We know it's a 1st down. Umpire walks it off, make sure he puts it outside the stick. Referee can do his monkey signals, 1st down, get that thing going. Linesman, you already know it's a short 5 and it's a 1st down. Get those chains out of there. Get them moving, right? So no dispute. We just keep the nice steady game flow. Okay. Line of scrimmage. I know we have probably another presentation coming down about legal formations, so I'm not going to get into that. However, knowing who's on the line of scrimmage is important, both offensively and defensively. Now, you might say, offensively, we get that, right? Formations, but why do we care who's on the line of scrimmage defensively? Well, it is a big deal because we need to know if they're on the line of scrimmage or not, because who can get blocked below the waist and who can't, right? So it's important. They have to be on the defensive player has to be on the line of scrimmage in order to be eligible to get blocked below the waist. Okay, so it's important defensively as well. Okay. I talk a lot about game interrupters in my pregame, right? Those pre-snap penalties. So who's responsible for what, right? So the field should really be split in half. Linesman take care of his side. Line judge take care of his side. We're gonna have pre-snap penalties. It's inevitable. But where we can avoid them, let's try to avoid them, right? Especially early in the game. Talk to the players, get them back, whatever we need to do. Right? The other thing, I always have a philosophy, right? DYFG, do your job, right? And it's just basically this, fish in your pond, officiate in your zone, right? However, if you need to fish in someone else's pond, if you need to go somewhere else, that's okay. But make sure you catch a whale and not a little minnow, not a little minnow, right? So calling an encroachment foul on somebody all the way across the field, that's a minnow. That's probably a foul we want to let go from your official. If the other official on his side wants it, let him get it. But don't be calling, encroachment fouls from across the field. Okay. Last thing is about the sideline, right? So wing officials, you own the sideline. It's, you need to work safely, effectively, not worrying about bumping into anyone, getting chewed out for 2.5 hours. That is your team. That is your sideline. You need to manage it. You have the restraining line. You have the team box. You have the sideline warning as tools to use. Use them if you need to use them. But crew sideline mechanics and having a good sideline starts with your crew philosophy, right? Pre-game, right? You can't have one wing official being tight. Nobody's on the field, and then you have the other wing official allowing the coach to come out to practically the numbers to call an offensive play. Doesn't work. Both wing officials have to be on the same page, and that you talk about at pregame. Again, one of my other philosophies is you kill them with kindness. Go into the game thinking you have a partnership with those coaches, right? You have 3 hours together, 2.5 hours together. Think of it as a partnership. They're going to help you. You help them. Great. So you kill them with kindness until that doesn't work anymore. Go into it as you have a partner, but as soon as you realize you don't have it, it's getting adversarial. Then you need to manage that differently at that point, right? And don't be afraid to tell that coach. Coach, I tried to work with you, but I'm getting a lot of pushback here. So now that's it. We're done. And then you manage it from there. Okay. So Chris, I think I got through with that just about 30 minutes.
Okay. There's no questions in the chat right now. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask John? All right, I'll take that as a no. So I appreciate you all for coming tonight. Next week, we will continue the series with the basic spot. Don Vandermark will be talking about that. So hope to see you all then. Have a great night, and thank you for attending.
Thanks, Chris.
Sorry, I missed out on all the fun. Hey, John.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing okay. Doing okay.
Can you stop the recording, John?
Very great presentation. Very
Let
good.
me, where
Thank
did
you.
I
Thank you.
stop?
So who's the 417?
Don't know.